No.
Okay. So the one thing that's, and I'll give a little bit of, I'll just give a real quick background. I mean, I wrote a little bit in the note and in the explanation. So restorative yoga is very different in that it is a very passive type of practice. We put ourselves in various shapes and forms. We use a lot of supports, meaning bolsters, blankets, pillows, blocks if you have them, things like that, straps. And they're meant to be helping you just release and let go of the active part of yoga. In some cases, this can even be harder mentally than active yoga, in that you really have to come into a more meditative state and learn how to let yourself go. But in the end, that's where the amazing benefits of restorative come in. So I know the first few times I practiced it, at first I just thought, I'm not doing anything. Where's the oomph? Where am I going to feel? It builds on itself, and when you really learn to train the mind to become more quiet and become more inward, you'll find, like I said, just boundless amounts of benefit from it. So I've had several people ask me about it, and I really wanted to start doing a restorative practice. Not everybody is needing to stand up and go and hold and be strong in those kinds of poses. Sometimes people really need this, and really, honestly, it's a great way to balance both kinds of yoga, because there's great benefits in both. So with that, we're actually going to begin tonight in corpse pose, in Savasana. And this one is probably the most ironic of the poses, in that it really is one of the more difficult ones to hold and quiet the mind. There really is very little going on, physically, but it's good training for where we're going with the rest of the practice. So I'm gonna have you both get into the beginning shape, if you will. Corpse pose is where we're lying all the way down. And if you wish, you could bring a blanket or something else underneath the head, if that helps soften the back of the skull. But if you're okay just laying all the way down, I would say just kind of flatten yourself on the mat. Wiggle around a little bit just to start, and kind of get in that sweet spot where you feel that the body is balanced. And I'm going to sit up just so I can talk to you a little bit more, but I want you all to lay. Just sort of start to ease the body down and feel if there's any imbalances with the way the right side versus the left is laying, or maybe holding any tension or energy. And once you kind of feel that between the two hip bones and the two shoulders, just begin the process of softening the body and feeling your presence on the mat. And just take a moment first to arrive in this beginning posture. I'm going to turn a little music on here, but I want to speak also, so I don't want it too loud. And we're going to stay in these various shapes for several minutes. And this is the challenge of restorative yoga, is, again, to quiet the mind enough so that you can truly begin to release and relax. So some of the benefits of this type of yoga are that it obviously lowers your stress level. It lowers your reaction to any stressors in your life. And therefore, it can definitely help with any stress-induced diseases, such as heart disease, and many, many other things that are triggered by and through stress. It also helps to increase the circulation by releasing the tension around the circulatory system, opening up blood flow, opening up those passages for places where you may have knitted together tight bands of nerve endings and restricting the blood flow. So it really does allow those areas to start to release and open. And it can help you greatly with any sort of pain management. So just learning to direct your energy and your breath toward any areas that are creating challenges or suffering can in and of itself help to reduce your feelings of pain in many cases. It's not the end-all be-all, but it certainly is a wonderful thing to institute throughout your exercise regimen, your wellness regimen. And so as we move through this practice today, I'm going to start with a little bit of a meditation while you're in this first posture to help you quiet the mind. So just begin by arriving in this moment, arriving where you are, and finding stillness in that place where you find yourself. Focus on what is present in you right now. Bring your focus to whatever you find to be present inside your mind and your body. Use the breath to begin to quiet the body further by releasing out any tension on your exhalations. And by drawing in a sense of peace and calm with each inhalation. Softly breathe in through the nose. Release gently the same way. And begin by focusing on what emotions are inside you now. Can you perhaps name the emotion you're feeling at this moment? So welcome that emotion. Accept it. Understand that it will pass. And always remember that you are not your emotions. Then focus on your thoughts. What are your thoughts at this present moment? Can you name your thoughts? Welcome them. Accept them. Know that they will pass. And remember that you are not your thoughts. And then become aware of any sensations you're feeling. Can you name those sensations? Welcome them. Accept them. Know that they will pass. And remember that you are not your sensations. Now focus your awareness on your breath. Your breath coming in through the body, pervading each membrane and each part of your body. Bringing that sensation of pure awareness. Know that any time you have emotions, thoughts, and sensations, you can always come back to this pure awareness simply through the use of your breath. Stay in this very simple beginning shape for just a few more breaths. Find that stillness within. Find that inner pure awareness that is you. Begin to draw that breath in a little bit deeper. As you bring your next inhalation in, go ahead and bring the hands up and overhead, drawing fingers up, and then exhaling, allowing those hands and arms to reach backward so that you're positioning yourself in a beautiful long stretch. Got my kitty in the way. Where's my kitty? Just feel that sensation of that morning stretch, no matter what time of day it is. It's refreshing. It's cooling. Find that sense of awareness of every part of your body. Draw the hands back down and go ahead and take one breath here in neutral. And go ahead and draw your right knee into the chest. Hug your right knee into the chest. Take the right hand on top of the right knee. Draw some little circles with the knee, just opening up the hip, inviting it to find some movement. And then circle around the other way. And bring it back to center. I asked you, hopefully you have this nearby, asked if you could have a strap nearby or something you can use for a strap. So if you have that hopefully next to your mat, if you can grab that strap, you can also always use a small towel or a tie or a belt or anything like that. And we're going to place that strap around the ball of the right foot and press that foot up to the ceiling. Now your foot does not have to come straight up. Find whatever position you can with a relatively straight leg. The knee can be slightly soft. But we do want to have just a little bit of tension on that strap so that the hands and arms aren't really pulling, but you're just feeling the tension and leverage of the strap itself holding the foot up. Inhale here, draw the breath as you feel it move up the back of the leg. And as you exhale, soften the right hip down and see if you can draw the toes a little closer to your head. With each inhalation, you're drawing the breath up the leg. With each exhalation, feeling it release the leg down as you draw the toes closer to you. Just using that strap for some gentle leverage here. Never moving to a position of pain, but just feeling the edge along which you can get the maximum potential from this stretch. So the edge is what we call the area where you feel a deep and strong awareness. You may even feel strong sensation, but you don't feel any pain. One more breath here. And then we're going to take that strap, hold it in the left hand, bring the right hand into a T off the shoulder. Before moving the leg, I want you to just gently bring it forward a little bit and then draw it over to the left, just crossing the midline of the body. We're not going to anything real deep here. We're just going to cross the foot over to the left so that you're crossing it over the body. You'll immediately feel that sensation coming up the right side of the leg, wrapping around that right glute, maybe even into the lumbar spine. Breathe into any sensation you feel here. Relax the leg. Try not to muscle anything in this practice. So try to leave the leg as loose and limp as you can and just hold it with the hand. One more breath. Draw that leg back up. And we're going to release that leg down. Allow it to come and be nice and long down the mat. Go ahead and bend the left knee. Draw the left knee into the chest and hug that left knee in. Nice breath here. And then go ahead and take the left hand on top of the left knee. And we'll create those little circles once again, just opening up that hip socket, feeling the movement open up the joint, allow the fluids to move around. And then let's circle it around the other way. And then bring it back to that center position. Go ahead and take your strap once again. Wrap the strap now around the ball of the left foot and gently press the sole of the foot up toward the ceiling. Notice if one side feels tighter than the other. Take stock of that. Give yourself ease and grace. And then just begin by drawing those toes gently toward your face. Again, you want to keep the leg as straight as possible, but you can have a little soft bend in the knee if that helps bring you ease. Inhale, imagining your breath traveling up the back of the leg, pausing at the top of the toes, and then releasing down the front as you draw those toes a little closer. Repeat this visualization with each new breath. Relax and release. Let go of any engagement. I know that's the hardest part of this practice, is to want to muscle your way into it like we are so used to doing in life and in other types of exercises. But here we're trying to be soft and passive. One more breath here. And then we're going to transfer that strap to the right hand and gently draw the foot a little bit forward before you begin to pull it across, and then just gently allow that leg to come over to the right, stopping at each little point where you feel sensation, and just breathe into those sensations, relish them. Understand what's going on. Understand how what you do causes an effect in your body. This is all part of the inner journey and the awareness that we're creating through this practice. Inhaling, exhaling, and creating softness in the body. Inhale, let's draw that leg directly back up. Release the strap and bring that foot down. Go ahead and bend both knees. Set the strap to the side. And we'll just hug those knees into the chest, both of them this time, and just feel free to rock back and forth. Give yourself just a little bit of love here on the lower back. Then bring both feet down. Widen the feet so that you're going to heel toe the feet to the outer edges of the mat. And here, if you have a blanket or even a block would do, maybe fold it over so that you have a nice resting point on the left side. And you're going to drop both knees over to the left and just allow that left knee to rest on something. So instead of letting the knees fall up and kind of hold themselves in the air, make sure that at least that left knee has a place where it can rest. So the feet are nice and wide apart. They're about mat width apart, and you've got a windshield wiper action going here, but you're just releasing and softening through the pelvis and the hips. Stay here for just a minute. Feeling that pull of gravity as your body passively reacts to the force that's holding it to the earth. We're going to draw the knees up. If you had something to let the knees fall, one on the left side, carry that over to the right. And then we're just going to allow both knees to fall to the right. So you have that resting place. Hands and arms can be wherever you feel most comfortable right here. Just soften and release any tension in the body. That's the hard part. And stay here for 5 breaths. One more. And go ahead and draw the knees back up to center. And from here, we'll go ahead and roll to one side and come on up to a seated position as we get set up in our next shape. All right, we're gonna both up and seated. And Vicki, I don't know, do you have blocks or do you have, I don't know if you, that's okay. I just didn't know if you had blocks or not.
Yes.
You do, okay, great. Good, I know Mary Jo does as well. So we're gonna get set up here in a seated bound angle. But I want this to be a little bit more of a narrow diamond with your bound angle. So instead of having the feet way up near the groin, we're going to allow those feet to come nice and long down the mat. Pretty narrow diamond is what you're creating. Take your blocks and we're going to place them on either side of the knees. So from here, we're just going to begin in an upward position and then just gently let the hands come down as you begin to bend forward. And you can round the back in this version. A lot of times we're trying to keep that back nice and straight. But I just want you to find that place where you can sort of settle in and just let the body get heavy. Come back to your breath. Wherever you're holding, just become that much more passive. Eventually, you can let the head just drop. And I want you to consider the idea in restorative yoga of really letting go of the ego. Letting go of that notion that you have to push harder, that you have to try harder, that you have a preconceived ideal that you're trying to reach. This is all ego. And I've been reading a lot of Eckhart Tolle's book, A New Earth, which is a wonderful book. I highly recommend it. He really has devoted this entire book to talking about letting go of the ego. And he says this: the ego tends to equate having with being. I have, therefore I am. And the more I have, the more I am. The ego lives by comparison. So how you are seen by others begins to turn into how you see yourself. So what we want to do is reverse that process of letting the ego drive who we are. Restorative yoga just says, let it go and let it be, wherever you are and whatever you're feeling. Just be in a position of receiving. Let's take about 4 more breaths here. Deepening your breath, softening the body. Welcoming those thoughts if they come, because you know they will pass. One more breath. Gently begin to rise back up, coming up one vertebra at a time, very softly. Remove those blocks and go ahead and just extend the legs down. You can maybe even give your knees a little bit of action here. since that was a long time in that bound angle. And then we're going to actually turn wide length down the mat. So if you want to turn toward me and just come into a wide leg forward fold. This time we're going to take those blocks and we're going to place them in the front. You probably want to stack them at least double, and if you have a blanket, you might even want to place that blanket on top. So we're just going to put that right square in the middle. And again, usually in a yoga class, we'd engage the legs, we'd sit up tall, we'd push those shoulders back. Here, I want your legs to be soft like noodles. Feet can move in or out. Just try to release any engagement whatsoever. And we're going to gently walk the hands forward and just push that support system here in the front, so that wherever you begin to fold down, your forehead can eventually reach there. If you need to make it even higher, you can put the blocks up. So there's any number of ways you can make this so that your forehead can just come down on that block and then completely release your weight. Softening the shoulders, softening the crown of the head, releasing anything that you're feeling in the neck and jaw. Pretend as if your legs are not even attached. They're just floating there. Come back to that sensation of your breath and feel that breath as it moves in and out, releasing any tension in the lower back. Just let go. Inhaling, reminding yourself that this is your time of ease. This is your time to show love and compassion to yourself. This is the time when we show ourselves what's called ahimsa, which is one of the principles of yoga, meaning non-harming. That can be translated to self-care and self-love. Welcome any sensations you feel. Allow them to be. If for any reason they result in discomfort, try to use your breath to provide ease to that area. We're trying to stay as still as possible to allow that body to settle in this meditative shape. Stay here for about 5 more breaths. Breath in, exhale, and then on your next inhalation you can begin to gently raise the head, coming back to your seat. We'll begin to remove that support. And you can push that off to the side, but bring your blanket or towel, whatever you're using. And we're going to fold that up and place it in the front of your mat. Make it as thick as you can. So if you're using a blanket or a towel, either one, if you can kind of roll it so it's a little bit of a thicker bolster, that would be good. And then for our next shape, we're going to go into a prone position. So coming all the way down on the mat, lying on our stomach. And we're going to go into a supported Sphinx pose. So for this, usually we have Sphinx and we're pushing ourselves up with the forearms, holding ourselves. Here I want you to take this bolster that you've created with the blanket or towel, and I want you to push it up right underneath the rib cage. So it's now sort of coming out underneath my arms, and it's giving me a nice place for that heart space to just lie down. And then the forearms again are forward as if you were in a traditional Sphinx position. But instead of having to hold yourself, you've got that bolster holding you. So Vicki, I don't know, you're going all the way down. I'm not sure if you're lying all the way on that blanket. So here's what I've got going. I'm more or less in a Sphinx position with the arms out. The head is still up, but you have this bolster that you're supporting on. Maybe you've got that and I just can't see it. So with that position, you should be able to soften the shoulders. We're not going to stay here quite as long as the other ones, but you should be able to soften the shoulders. Instead of having to support yourself, you now have this soft support underneath you. The neck is nice and neutral. You're still getting the benefit of this very soft, subtle back bend, but it's without the effort in the body. So come back to your breath. If you prefer, you can let that head hang a little bit. Once again, try to move from top to bottom and just release any place that you're holding. You have support. Just soften the body down and melt into the mat. Melt into the earth. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then on your next inhalation, you can begin to bring those elbows back up underneath. Press yourself up and push back into a sweet child's pose. And I'm going to have you take that rolled up bolster that you had and bring that with you. We're going to place it in between the knees. So whatever you've got there, place that in between the knees. Just kind of push it back between your legs. And then we're going to let the body just lay down on that bolster. So So now you are in a supported child's pose. This is about the most ease-inducing shape we can come up with, provided child's pose is okay for you. So now you're just letting that torso drape over that made-up bolster, your blanket. Let the shoulders drip down toward the mat. Let the hands be soft. Let the lower back release. Come back to that breath. Back to that sensation of understanding that the breath is your pure awareness. The breath brings you to this present moment. The breath is who and what you are. And if you had your head turned one way, if you'd like to change and turn your cheek, kind of let your neck rest the other direction, then feel free to do that. Just feel yourself being held. Receive that feeling of security, that feeling of safety and of softness. Stay here for about 4 or 5 more breaths. You can begin to just gently press yourself up and come back up into a seated position. All right, I've got one more. We're going to go one more place with this, provided, and I hope this works because I know we're all in different places. If you have, you can just nod yes or no. Vicki, do you have a wall or someplace nearby where you could put your legs up against a wall? Okay. No, Mary Jo knows where we're going with this. So if so, I'm going to just demonstrate what to do, and that way you can watch me really quickly. And then if you can find your spot on the wall, then you can follow along. And we're going to end with a lovely pose called legs up the wall. It's sometimes called waterfall too, but I'm actually going to use a little bit of a padding because I'm on a hardwood floor here. Just if that helps you, then go ahead and create that pad as well. Hopefully, yeah, you can see me. So what I'm going to do is come right next to my wall. I'm going to lay down so that my hips are nice and close to that wall. And then I'm going to raise my hips up so that when I press my feet up, I have the legs are going right straight up on the wall, as close as you can. All right, so that's really it. So like I said, I knew I probably couldn't see everybody when you get in your position, but I just wanted to demonstrate. So if you can find that position and find a comfortable wall where you can put those feet up, that's where we're going to end the practice tonight. So I'll give you a few minutes to get that set up. And once you arrive there, once you find that space where you can just sort of, there you go. That looks good, Vicki. I can see you. Just, here's where it's really, really critical to just relax and release any engagement whatsoever in the legs. So you're almost pretending as if those legs aren't a part of you. They're just resting up there. So just come back to your breath. Arms can be wherever you feel they're most comfortable. Open up your throat. Feel that breath moving in and out the body. And just find the beauty and the rest in this sweet position. Back to that meditative thought. Whatever sensations arise, don't fear them, don't judge them. We allow them, we welcome them, we know they will pass. Focus on that sweet breath moving in and out. Stay here a couple more minutes. Just feel that release, that beautiful sensation, this sweet resting pose. Let go of your ego. Just receive. ahead and take a little deeper breath in. Bring yourself back to your place in the room. Begin to allow the feet to just gently slide down the wall. Roll to one side or the other. And just pause there on that side for a moment. Allowing the body to readjust, to recalibrate, to rebalance. And as you're ready, you can begin to roll a little bit more and come up to sit upright as we close our practice together. Let's draw the arms up and overhead, reaching upward. Release them down with an exhalation. Clear your space. Draw the arms forward, up and overhead. Exhale and release and clear that space. And one more time, arms out to the side, up, overhead, gazing upwards, and then following the thumbs as they come down toward the heart center. May you always feel at ease and understand and be grateful for this beautiful practice that nourishes your body, mind, and soul. Thank you so much for practicing with me this evening. Namaste.